Hey tarot friends, it's Jade with Tarot Your Truth, and my channel is all about sharing my tarot journey. My tarot journey today has taken me to Napa, California, so way on the opposite side of the continent and different country, obviously. This is the beautiful Emeritus Resort in Napa Valley, and I've had a wonderful day today. It's been 35 degrees Celsius. I don't even know what that is in Fahrenheit, but suffice it to say it's hot. I was sitting earlier for a couple of hours out on those lazy boy chairs, or I'm not sure what they're, lounge chairs rather, by the pool, and having a wonderful time doing some tarot. I love how they have the mist coming out to help, and there's a screened in area there. Hopefully the noise from people isn't too much. But okay, I've moved back inside because it was quite loud and I could not see anything. It was so bright outside that I couldn't see what it is that I was filming, if anything was in focus or anything like that. So I moved back inside. But in any case, this video is just a quick recap of my August. I know I did, my last recap was early August, and it was for July and the first part of August. I thought I would just do a quick, I guess probably what I'll do is I'll do it from mid-month to mid-month, since the last time was mid-month, for the last half of July, first half of August, and so this will be the same thing, the last half of August, first half of July. And hopefully the lighting is okay. I'm not working with my normal setup, obviously, since I'm not at home. But if this is your first time spending time with me, welcome very much. And for those of you who are choosing to spend time with me again, thank you so much. I very much appreciate the repeat visit. If you haven't yet, please, and you do like my content, please do hit the subscribe button, give me a like, and you know, I would very much appreciate it. Hit that notification button, and that way you'll be alerted to when new videos come out. I'm going to do my best to put out videos at least once a week, if not more often. Life has been a little bit insane lately, and so it's been a little bit spotty, but in any case, here we go. So in the month of August, as I mentioned, the month of August was very insane. We spent a lot of time in hospitals with various friends, which was not so much fun, and a lot of time working, a lot of overtime, and just not very much time for tarot in general. So I did not use very many decks. When I go back through my journal, the decks that I used in the last half of July, and I'm sorry, the last half of August and the first half of September, were the same 4 decks that I used for the August challenges, which I talked about the last time, which were the Wild Unknown, Mystic Mondays, the Ancient Italian Tarot, and Shadowscapes. Nope, the Chicoli deck, sorry. I did use the Shadowscapes. I do use the Shadowscapes occasionally just for regular readings, but those 4 decks were specifically for the Instagram challenges. It was a little spotty, to be honest with you. Yeah, it was a little spotty. those challenges require you to do a spread or some kind of reading every single day, and I didn't manage that. I did okay the first half of the month, but then the second half, sorry about this, I'm just reaching for my deck. The second half of the month, I just didn't manage. There was not very much time, and what time that I did have for tarot, I would either just do a 1 card pull, or I would be learning or studying or reading about the tarot. Some of you might recognize this as my Soprafino deck. This I call one of the biggest pieces of my soul deck. I adore it, and some of you might, if you visited me before, you might recall me saying that this one would not leave home. It is why I purchased the Ancient Italian deck, which is based on the same, it's the Lo Scarabeo mass market version of the same original Soprafino deck. And I guess I sort of got over that a little bit, especially with these wonderful tarot cloths that I learned to make from Rochelle at Amethyst Ascension. I'll see if I can link that video for those of you who haven't seen it. But the decks are so well protected now, and I just keep it in my purse. Or I can keep it in my purse, which, you know, wouldn't be going through too much rummaging, or I don't know what the word is. I do have a migraine today, so I apologize. Words are a bit tougher. But in any case, with the cloth, being so large and just wrapping it up so tightly, I feel that it's very protected, so I felt better about taking this on trip with me. It's not like I'm going to bring this out to the pool. I actually did bring a deck out to the pool earlier, and that was my Tarot de la Nuit. That's upside down. That's my Tarot de la Nuit. And again, I didn't feel bad about bringing it, because it's not hubba hubba, because I wasn't going in the water. I was just sitting by the lounge chairs, and so I felt pretty comfortable with that. In any case, I have shown this one before, so I'm not going to go through that deck in detail. But I just kind of practiced. I practiced shuffling. This deck is still the cardstock. It's thin. I mean, it's definitely thinner than my Soprafino deck, but it is actually quite stiff. So I have a hard time doing a shuffle that is a riffle shuffle, and so I was kind of practicing that just to sort of wear in the cards a little bit over and over. I was getting some funny looks, but that's okay. It doesn't bother me. I don't know any of these people, so. In any case, so those are the 2 decks that I brought with me. In terms of, as I said, the month of August, that's what I used. The month of September, I have been focusing on the Soprafino, deck, which again is this one here. I've just been really wanting to spend some more time with this, get to know it a little bit better, and that includes going through the card meetings, looking up the history, just learning about the deck in general, and about the where things sort of came from, how it came about, that sort of thing. So, but yeah, I haven't done a ton of readings. Again, I am doing another Instagram challenge for the month of September. This one called Badass September Love, I think. I'll see if I can link it down below. And again, I haven't been pushing myself to do a reading every single day. I have really been doing it sort of every few days. So I've sort of done 3 days at a time. So just draw one card for each question, for each daily question, but doing a three card spread. That's it for the decks. When I go back through my journal, sorry again, this is a different setup, so I don't have as much room as I would like. But when I go back through my journal, oh, the other one that I've used, the only other one that I've used is my Marshmallow Marseille. I've used that for a couple of readings, primarily around the health of the people that I was very worried about that were in hospital, some of which are still in hospital. Oh my gosh, guys, it's been a really bad month. One of our best friends sort of fell off a cliff trying to save his son and mine. And he broke half his body. He's still in hospital. He was in an induced coma for a little bit. Luckily, he seems to be on the mend, but he did develop some complications. So he's by no means is he completely in the clear. The next day after that happened, I found out another family member had a massive heart attack. Luckily, I just found out yesterday he has now been sent home, so he seems to be on the mend. The following day, I found out that one of my staff has a 2-year-old son who has been diagnosed with cancer and will require surgery as well as chemotherapy. And if that wasn't bad enough, over the past several days, I have another colleague and friend who has also been in the hospital with some other major issues. So it's been a really, really rough month. Let's put it that way. Okay, so if I haven't been doing much tarot, what else have I been doing? Well, I made a buttload of these tarot cloths. They were a lot of fun to make because they are very simple, and so a lot of fun because you can choose all sorts of different fabrics. I'll link the video that I did where I showed all the ones that I have made to date. One of the things that I had shown was that on my zombie tarot, I took another piece of ribbon and I used the embroidery function on my sewing machine to embroider the word zombie, so that I know by looking at the bundle and without unwrapping the bundle which deck that I have. I haven't done that again. I need to experiment. I had to fix my machine, so I did a little bit of that as well. So hopefully that's been taken care of, and I can now go ahead and do that for all of the decks that are in these wraps, because they're gorgeous, and I really don't want to have to constantly unwrap to see what deck is in what bundle. Okay, the other thing that I have been doing is learning more about numerology. So I mentioned that I have been using both my Soprafino deck and the Marshmallow Marseille, and I think numerology plays quite a big part in especially Marseille decks. And so, there we go. And so I have been sort of going through. There's a couple of pages for each number, and just looking up different resources, and writing down some keywords and some of the things that I learned about for each number rather. That's not really focused, but anyways, that's the 3s. Okay, so I have done that. So it's been kind of fun because a lot of the different resources are very similar, but often have some some different nuances, I guess you could say. Okay, sorry this is rough like this. I just have, there's a glass top on this desk, and there was a reflection. Okay, this I have to fix that when I get home, but I started a notebook as well for Marseille and ancient Italian decks, which to me seem to have many similarities, and so the different meanings, you know, the meanings are slightly different than some current decks, but in any case, I have done that again. So sort of a page per card for each deck. I've done this one by deck because I don't read reversals. What I have done instead is just call it the shadow side. So, you know, because I do believe at this point in my journey, I do believe that the tarot has sufficient meaning in the upright position that I don't really need to try to learn a reverse meaning. I do believe that some of the shadow side, or that reverse, what people will call a reverse meaning, can be part and parcel of the reading, depending on the question, the card position, and whatnot. So I do look at them. I do refer to them. I like to know what those are, but I sort of look at it as a whole. Even though I've separated it here as shadow or reverse meaning, I'm sort of learning about the meanings as a whole for each of these cards. What else? So yeah, so that has been taking quite a bit of time. And then the Marseille, for the Marseille system, I actually so I've been looking at this per source. This one, these meanings that I've got here come from the Labyrinthos, which I think is the same as Golden Thread. I'm not 100% sure. The Labyrinthos site, I think it's a pretty wonderful site, and it reflects the meanings of each card back to the major arcana, because the energy is very similar. And then they go through, so they give you sort of a, you know, this is the ace, for example. You know, potential is the main theme here. There is the promise of much to be achieved, but it is still in its latent stages. The archetype is the magician, who represents willpower, energy, creativity, and vitality. We see the same themes applied to the aces, but in each of their suits. And then it will go through and actually talk about the four different aces, and how that energy of the magician comes into play for that suit, and then some keywords. So those of you who know the Labyrinthos site or have gone to look at it might notice that this is pretty much a copy of that entire page. That's how I learn. I learn by writing things down, and that's how it sticks into my head. I can't just read it and then know it. I can't just try to study it from reading it. I actually have to see it written down in my own hand, and then I tend to remember. So that was quite quite a bit of work, but I like it. This is how I learn things, and you know, that works for me. Things might work differently for you, and I think you should just give different methods a try until you find something that you like. So that's what I have been working on in the past month. Okay, one of the things I wanted to try today was is a spread. I've not done this before on my channel, so we'll see how this goes. This could be a complete disaster. However, I was on Instagram. I'm going to see if I can show this actually. And I came across this spread, which is by Cardamom Sea Spreads, and this is about the full moon. If we look at the note here, the full moon this month is the sign of Pisces, so not only will it have everything to do with our emotions, it has also the potential to be deeply transformative if we let it. I thought I would give this a try. This is a total experiment. This might be a complete bust, and I might I might not post this, but in any case, I thought I was going to give this a try. So they have used the Everyday Witch Tarot. I don't have mine with me. The only tarot decks that I brought with me on my trip are the Soprafino and the Tarot de la Nuit, and I thought I would try this with the Tarot de la Nuit. So the first one is, oh look, Michelle Dawn added a listing. Who was I a year ago? Who am I now? What have I learned in the past 12 months? How have I changed? What do I need to release from my life in this full moon? What do I need to meditate on and carry forward with me? So let's give that a try, shall we? Okay, so I'm just going to shuffle here, and I'm going to do this from behind the curtain just because it's very awkward today. I'm recording on my iPad. Okay, so the first position is, who was I a year ago? Second position is, who am I now? Okay, I do not have much room here. I'm going to just move this back a bit, sorry. Hope I don't make everybody sick. Da, da, da. It's a little bit better. Okay. The third position is, what have I learned in the last 12 months? Devil. And the fourth position is, how have I changed? I'm just going to overlap these a little bit just so that we can get them all in frame. The fifth position is, what do I need to release from my life with this full moon? The Tower, interesting. Okay. And the sixth position is, what do I need to meditate on and carry forward with me? And that is the Eight of Pentacles. Okay, so hopefully I'm not going to make everybody sick. I'm just going to move this and maybe back it up just a little bit. Okay, so that's overall. I'm going to come back down. I'm trying to do this so I don't make everyone sick here. All right. Oh boy, this is a bit of a personal, well, not a bit, this is quite a personal reading, but that's okay. I'll talk about it in at least in a bit more general terms without without giving too much, getting too personal. So who was I a year ago? A year ago, so that corresponds with the Queen of Swords. Okay. The Queen of Swords. I really love that that depiction. So a year ago, and I've talked about this, I've talked very lightly about this actually in past videos, so I don't mind sharing, but a year ago I would say that I was someone who, is all about, so for me, I am about justice, justice, ethics, doing the right thing, making sure, fairness. Those are all me. I'm a very independent person, quick thinker, pretty organized, and of course on the other side of the, on the shadow side of the Queen of Swords, I would say that I was definitely someone that would be prone to withdrawing, or seeming cold. So if I just lost respect for someone in my life, because I felt that they were being unethical or in some other way going against what my core values were, then I would just withdraw. I wouldn't get into arguments with them. I wouldn't try to convince them that they were wrong. I would just go my merry way. And I was definitely in a place where I could get overly emotional about something and then lose that clear head, or lose that scientific detachment, I guess, if you could call it that. So that's definitely, I can see that is definitely correct. That was me a year ago. Okay, the second question, or second position, is who am I now? And that's the Five of Swords that you see here right in the center. That is quite an arresting image, isn't it? And well, that is interesting. I worked hard on the pieces of myself that were causing me trouble. This is an interesting card for me to come here, because to me the Five of Swords is typically about conflict and tension, loss, sort of betrayal, sort of winning at all costs kind of thing. And then on the shadow side, I would, so those things, I would say those aren't me. So I would say that really the more, I think the shadow side of this card is really what this is telling me right now, which is that I am definitely open to change, and I've been dealing with past resentments, sort of letting them go, forgiving, not necessarily forgiving, forgiving but not necessarily forgetting, forgiving but not forgetting. And there have been, as I've been working through that, a lot of old wounds have been resurfacing, but it's been good because I've been letting those things go, and growing, and my heart feels a lot better. And that sort of has been helping me take away that overly emotional side from a year ago. So I've been, that willingness to change and to learn from past mistakes. That's me now. And I'm not saying that the upright meaning, or the traditionally upright meaning of this card, absolutely that can't be me, but I know in my heart that that's actually not me right now. And so, yeah, and I've never been a win at all costs type of person anyway. So this is what, that being open to change, being willing to learn from past mistakes, letting go of past resentments, that's what this card speaks to me of right now. Okay, position number 3 is, what have I learned in the past 12 months? And that is the devil. Again, another arresting image. Well, you know, in the past 12 months, I really learned to, as I was just saying about letting go of old resentments, I think in some cases those become a bit of a crutch. Maybe crutch is not the right word, but, sort of feeling a bit in bondage to those past failures, those past hurts, those past betrayals. They were still really affecting, or it was still really affecting me. I had a lot of, I didn't have an absolutely wonderful childhood. There's a lot of trauma, shall we say, in my past, and I couldn't let go. I didn't know how to let go of those things. And so in the past year, as I said, I worked really hard on that, which comes back to that 5 of Swords, and I'm finally freeing myself from those things. So, I'm letting go of those bonds. I'm the only one who can let those things go and work on them. And tarot has been a really great part of this journey. It is through tarot very much that I have been able to work through those inner child issues and do that shadow work. So I owe tarot actually quite a bit. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4 is how have I changed? That is the 2 of Wands that you see here. So, how have I changed? Well, again, going back to the beginning, I guess, right? Is just going back to what inspires me. It's that creativity, and I was in a place where I felt my creativity was just completely stifled, and so that's one of the changes that I really made, is to go back, think about things, think about what I want out of life, planning, going back to doing that planning and discovery, self-discovery again, learning about my achievements. I've achieved a lot in my life, and when I was in this position here and this position here, nothing was ever good enough, right? I was always striving for better and bigger, and this is really going back to thinking back about what I have come from and where I'm going, and learning to work with not just myself but other people as well, what my goals are, and dealing with that anxiety. Okay. Question 5 was, what do I need to release from my life with this full moon? And that is the Tower. And I've mentioned this in the past, in some past videos, especially if you watched my my very first video, which was about how I came to tarot, and it was really to deal with that Tower moment in my life where everything sort of crashed around my ears. And that is one thing that I guess I haven't let go of just yet. And part of that is because it still has influences in my current life, particularly in my work life. And, it is something that I'm still working through. And, it will take a little bit of time. That makes sense, right? It's a tarot moment. It's not exactly just, a toothache. It was a pretty significant, a very significant time in my life. And that's going to take more than just a few days or months work through, but things are at least moving in the right direction. So that's pretty great. Okay, and then the last question, card number 6, is what do I need to meditate on and carry forward with me? And that is the 8 of Pentacles. I really love this card. Actually, I'm just gonna move this up here. This is a gorgeous 8 of Pentacles. So what do I need to meditate on and carry forward with me? So the 8 of Pentacles for me is a card about craftsmanship, you know, the apprentice sort of becoming a better apprentice, moving towards becoming a master. It's that quality. It's about learning, it's about education, it's about engagement, it's about having steady patience with achievement in mind. So things that are worthwhile take time and take effort, and it takes time to perfect your craft. So for me, in terms of what it is that I need to meditate on, I think, you know, just continuing to do what I'm doing, and having patience, working through that, working with that shadow side, incorporating that into my full life, not just suppressing it. And in addition to that, I would say that for me, I need to meditate on and figure out a way of how to meld that creativity side of me with the more logical, scientific engineering side of me, logic, you know, reasoning life, which is my work. You know, I think that a year ago, when I was in the Queen of Swords mode, you know, creativity really didn't have any, it had no business in my life, as much as I would have liked to, which is really not just sad, but is really just suppressing my creativity, right? Which is suppressing a part of me, and that, you know, that worked for a while until this hit. And then, you know, I realized that I can't continue to do that. I was always suppressing either one side of me or the other. And so I need to, you know, I need to keep working on figuring out how to meld those, not just bring them together, not just, you know, when I say, you know, work-life balance, it's not about spending more time working versus home or personal, but bringing that balance, bringing them together, making more of a meld, finding ways at work to be more creative, finding ways at home and in my personal life to be to embody more of the logical side. So that is it. That's the reading. And let me know if you try this. This again, I think I said this was by Cardamancy Spreads, but I believe this is just a repost, because when I look down here, it says repost at Zinzudo. So I think Zinzudo, and I apologize if I mispronounce that, but I think this is actually the person who created this spread. So check it out. Let me know if you try this and how it goes for you. Please let me know in the down bar below. And also, please let me know if you would like to see other readings from me like this. Obviously, this is probably as personal as I would get, probably a little bit more personal that I'm really comfortable with, but you know, well, it is what it is. So you know, let me know. But if you enjoy this, I don't know if I interpreted all the cards correctly. You know, certainly, again, I'm only a few months into this whole tarot thing, so I could be totally off base. But it definitely does resonate with me, so I think I'm okay. Let me know if if you have any other ideas, or if you feel that I have misrepresented something, then please do let me know in the down bar below. If you like this type of content and you would like to see more of it, then please also let me know in the down bar. If you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button. I would really appreciate it, and I look forward to continuing the conversation. So until the next time, my friends, this is Jade from Terrier Truth signing off. Bye-bye.